Hello everyone, welcome to Anytime Yoga. Today we are going to continue practicing the UPA of muscle energy combined with open to grace. So last time, muscle energy, we talked through what this entails, and just as a quick reminder, it's finding and keeping healthy alignment in our bodies, physical alignment. And by focusing on muscle energy, thinking hugging in or engaging skin to muscle to bone, drawing into midline, it's going to help us stay stable in the poses that we're at. And moving from pose to pose. So thinking open to grace, setting your foundation, inner body brightness, and then how can we engage the muscles that need to be engaged to protect our joints, to help us flow within each of the poses, and then also be strong and stable in those poses, while at the same time noticing which muscles we can soften. Okay, so let's jump into this next sequence. It's going to be similar to last week's. It's an extension of last week's peak pose, so I'm excited to jump in with you. Go ahead and find a comfortable seated pose, either kneeling over a block or sitting cross-legged. Make sure that your hips are about even or a little bit higher than your knees. Root your sits bones into your foundation. Place your palms down for more groundedness or up for more openness. Get strong through your core, lengthen through your spine, shoulder blades on your back. Shine bright through the crown of your head. Close your eyes or lower your gaze and begin to notice your breath. Invite your breath past your throat, past your heart, deep into your belly, letting your belly expand and contract with each inhalation and exhalation. Use this time to check in with your body, heart, and mind. Noticing how you feel in this moment, what emotions or feelings are bubbling to the surface. Notice, acknowledge with curiosity and without judgment. Check in with your body. Notice how your physical body feels today. Notice any feelings of discomfort or dis-ease, and send your breath to those places in your body, offering them support. And check in with your mind. Notice where your thoughts have drifted. With kindness and compassion, invite those thoughts back to your mat, back to this present moment. I invite you to set an intention, a word or a phrase you can return to for kindness and encouragement, whether you are on your mat or off your mat. On your next inhalation, raise your hands above your head, meeting your palms together, and exhale your hands to your heart. Let's join together with one Om, taking a deep inhale. Exhale, HA, and inhale for Om. Gently release your hands, softly blink open your eyes, shrug your shoulders, turn your head side to side. Meeting back in center, inhale your hands high. Exhale, lower your right hand to your right hip and make a fist. Then lower your left hand to the top of your head. Just let it gently rest on your head. Softly release your head over to your left shoulder. Release your left hand to your leg. And breathe deeply. Release, soften. Softening your eyes, softening your jaw. You can close your eyes or lower your gaze. Create more space between your shoulder and your left ear. Create more space from your right shoulder, from your right ear. And gently lower your chin to your chest. Slowly, slowly, slowly. And then rise back up to neutral. Let's do second side. Inhale your hands high. Exhale your left hand down to your left hip. Right hand to the top of your head very softly. And then lower your right ear toward your right shoulder. Softening your left shoulder away from your left ear. Softening your right shoulder away from your right ear. Release your right hand at any time. And breathe deeply. With a gentle breath, lower your chin to chest, slowly, slowly, slowly. And then rise back up. Nice work. Inhale your hands high again. Exhale, twist to your right, lengthening through your spine. Turning your chin over your shoulder, breathing deeply. And back to center and over to your left, second side. Hopefully this feels good after a week or day of studying, doing homework, working on your computer. Back to center. Or maybe you had a fun day of movement and you still need to stretch. Release your hands, transition to tabletop pose. Use your props however you need. If you need a blanket under your knees. As you move into tabletop pose and transition to cat-cow, set your foundation. So root your hands, your fingers, your knuckles into your mat, shoulder blades on your spine, shoulders over wrists, hips over knees, and with your breath, begin to move through cat-cow. At any point, transition to a different variation of cat-cow. Maybe moving side to side, looking back at your hips, wagging your tail. Or add even more movement, sinking your hips back toward your heels. Notice what your body needs right now in this moment. Returning your thoughts to your mat. Returning to your intention. Take one more breath where you are. And then meet back in neutral spine, tabletop pose. Let's do a little bit of upper back, shoulder mobility. Lowering your forearms down to your mat. Root down, shoulder blades on your spine. Lift your left elbow skyward. Extend through your arm. Turn your gaze towards your fingertips. And then switch sides. Move with your breath. Soften where you can soften. Maybe your eyes, maybe your jaw, maybe your fingers. One more time on each side. And then back to center, rise up, tabletop pose, walk your hands out in front of you, spider fingers, fingertips on your mat, and soften your heart towards your mat in puppy pose. Draw your lower ribs back toward your spine, then soften your heart toward your mat again. Inhale, rise. Exhale, walk your spider fingers off your mat, soften through your heart, side puppy. Lengthen through your side bodies from your wrists through your shoulders all the way through your hips. And then back to center. Second side. Walk your spider fingers over to your left. Staying long through your side bodies. Breathing deeply. And then back to center. Plant your hands out in front of you. Inhale your chest forward. Modified chaturanga. Shoulder blades on your spine. Strong core. Lower down. Elbows beside your ribs. Land with your chest, then your hips. Root the tops of your feet into your mat. Inhale. Rise up into cobra. And lower back down. Get strong through your core. Rise all the way up. Staying even through your chest, through your hips, through your belly. And sink back into puppy. Move through that 2 more times, flowing with your breath. Cobra variation of your choice. Be mindful of your breath. Be mindful of your alignment. One more time. Trust your strength. Trust your foundation. Root down to rise up. Meeting back in puppy pose. And inhale your chest forward. Root your hands. Lift your knees off your mat into plank pose. Root down, shoulder blades on your spine. Then lift your hips up into downward facing dog. Open to grace. Set your foundation first. Notice the placement of your hands, your fingers, your knuckles. Notice if you need to bend your knees more to get a nice long trajectory in your back. Then inhale your right foot high, 3-legged dog. Bring your knee to nose. Take as many steps as you need to root your right foot between your hands. Strong legs rooting down. Rise up into crescent lunge. Exhale, cactus arms. Draw your lower ribs back toward your spine. Strong core. Shine bright through the crown of your head. And then open to your left. Wide arms. Open to your right. And back to center. Exhale your hands to your heart. Draw your chest forward. Twist to your right. Left elbow to outer right knee. Open through your arms. Rise up, staying twisted. And back to center. Exhale your hands to your heart. Root down with your front leg. Big step forward. High knee. Sit into temple. Sit deep. Left ankle over right knee. Engage your toes, drawing your toes toward your shin. Shoulder blades on your spine. Rooting your right hand into your left hand back into your right hand. Hugging into midline. Muscle energy. Then rise up, transition to tabletop pose. One of 3 bus stops, toes at your mat, foot at your ankle or at your calf, or skip your knee and come to your upper leg, rooting your left foot into your right leg and your right leg back into your left foot, really hugging in, activating through your legs, through your core, hands at heart, or extend your arms skyward into branches, or if you'd like more of a heart opener, clasp your hands behind your sacrum and breathe. Notice where to activate your muscle energy, and notice where you can soften on the boundaries of your body. Take one more breath, and then meet back in high knee. We're gonna move from high knee to warrior 3. So you're rooting down with your right foot, strong legs, hug into your core, hands at heart center, above your head or beside your hips, yogi's choice. Root down and then draw your chest forward, your torso forward, step your left leg back into the air behind you. Warrior 3, point your toes towards your mat, heel is lifted. Even your hips, we're not opening hips, we're keeping your hips closed, even pointed toward your mat. And then trust yourself to step all the way back to your mat into crescent lunge. Beautiful. Exhale your hands down to your mat, root down, step back, 3-legged dog, scorpion dog, bend your lifted knee, open through your hip, engage your toes, and lower back down to your mat. Yogi's choice, stay in down dog, moving your hips side to side, move through chaturanga, or rest in child's pose. Meeting back in downward facing dog, second side. Inhale your left leg high, draw your knee to your nose. Take as many steps as you need to root your left foot between your hands. Root down, strong legs, rise up, crescent lunge, second side. Notice that your front knee's over your front ankle and move through cactus arms. Breathing deeply. Soften through your jaw. Soften your ears. Open your arms over to your right, nice and wide, and over to your left. Back to center. Exhale your hands to your heart, draw your torso forward, twist to your left, right elbow to outer left knee, open through your arms, rise up, staying twisted, and back to center. Exhale your hands to your heart, root down with your front foot, front leg, rise up, high knee, and then sit into temple, right ankle over left knee, engage your toes, draw your toes toward your shin, notice your alignment, and breathe deeply, temple pose. One more breath here. And then rise up, transition into tree pose. If you step out, that's okay. If you need to give your foot a break, that's okay as well. Choose one of the 3 bus stops at your ankle, on your calf, or your upper leg, rooting your right foot into your left leg back into your right foot. So engage your legs, engage your muscle energy from your foot through your calf, all the way up through your core, shining bright through the crown of your head. Hands at your heart center. Grow branches or clasp your hands behind your sacrum. Opposite pinky on top this time for a nice heart opener. It's all right if you wobble. It's okay if you fall out of this pose. Take a breath and step back in when you are ready. Take one more breath in tree pose and gently release into high knee, moving into warrior three. Shoulder blades on your spine, hands above your head, at your heart or beside your hips. Draw your torso forward, step your right leg back, extending back behind you. Even at your hips, engage your toes, pointing toward your mat, heel pointing skyward. Take a deep breath in warrior three. And step all the way back, crescent lunge. Beautiful. Exhale your hands down to your mat, root down, step back, three-legged dog. Bend your lifted knees, scorpion dog, open through your hips. And then lower your foot down to your mat. Walk your dog out, moving your hips side to side. Then bend your knees as much as you can. Look at the top of your mat. Hop or step to the top of your mat. Feet hip distance apart. Bring your block out in front of you. Forward fold. Bend your knees as much as you need to. Folding your upper body over your lower body. Release your head and neck. Nodding your head yes. Shaking your head no. Nodding your head once again. Grab your elbows with your hands, swaying side to side. And gently release your hands. Fingertips to your block. Inhale, halfway lift. Your block can be set at any height that you need to lengthen through your spine so you're not rounded. Lengthen shoulder blades on your spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise. Reverse your swan dive, rising all the way to standing. Clasp your hands above your head. Micro back bend. Back to center. Crescent to your right. Crescent to your left. And back to center. Exhale your hands to your heart. Or bring your hands to your hips. Or palms facing forward beside your hips. Tadasana, mountain pose. Notice your alignment, feet hip distance apart. Root down. Make sure your hips aren't jutting forward. This kind of is a grocery store stance. Sometimes we sit in the grocery store and our hips come forward. So notice, being mindful, drawing your hips back. Some folks say you're stacking your hips over your knees, over your ankles. That's a way to think about it. Shoulder blades on your spine. Take this moment to pause and return to your intention, closing your eyes or lowering your gaze. Offer your intention to yourself and send that same intention out to those around you. Take one more breath. And gently release your hands. Softly blink open your eyes. Inhale your hands high. Let's go straight into chair. Check your alignment. And then sit deep into chair. Shins in, knees wide. Strong core. Sit a little deeper. Trust your strength. Lift and spread your toes. Activating through your legs, through your pelvic floor, through your core. You can have your hands out in front of you, open wide, or hands at heart center. Yogi's choice. Sit a little deeper. Continue to trust your strength. Root down, then twist to your left, bringing your right elbow to your outer left knee. Check your knees that they're not uneven. If they are, draw your left hip forward. Come back to center. Twist to your right. Notice your alignment. And back to center. Release your hands behind your hips. Rise up slow, slow, slow. Open your arms, open through your heart. And exhale, sit deep into chair. Flow with your breath. Rising slowly. Open through your heart. And sit back into chair one more time. 3, 2, 1, and release, forward fold. Release your head and neck, nodding yes, shaking no, nodding yes again. And inhale, rise slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae. All the way to standing. Lift your left knee high. And step back into Warrior 3 again. Rooting down with your right foot. Drawing your torso forward, extending your left leg back behind you. And then lower your left foot. Windmill all the way open. Extend through your right leg, coming into star pose. Nice work. All right, point your toes toward the corners of the long edge of your mat. Let's move through goddess pose. Exhale, bend your knees, bend your elbows. Root down. Notice where to activate your muscle energy from your feet, through your legs, through your core. And breathe. You can engage your toes by lift and spreading your toes. Then inhale, rise up. And exhale, sink deep. Rise up onto your tippy toes. And lower back down. Rise back up. And then twist over to the opposite end of your mat, coming into crescent lunge. Root down and step forward into chair pose. So we're at the opposite end of your mat. Chair pose, root down. Rise up. This time, second side. We're going to move into Warrior 3, second side. Lifting your right leg high, right knee high. And then step back, root down with your left foot, step back with your right leg, extending your right leg back, heel lifted, and then lower to crescent lunge, windmill into star pose, and flow straight into goddess pose. Root down, and rise up, root down, rise up onto your tippy toes. Stay strong, strong, strong. Trust your strength. It's okay if you shake or wobble. And lower back down. Star pose. Point your toes toward the long edge of your mat. And forward fold. Wide angle forward fold. Grab your block. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bring your left hand to your right ankle for a side stretch. And then back to center. Rise up, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Right hand to left ankle. And back to center. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up. Reverse your swan dive. Rising all the way up to standing. Exhaling your hands to your heart. Heel toe your feet toward one another, and let's transition to Malasana. So grab your props, whether you need a block behind your booty, rolled up blanket or towel under your heels. Root down, grab a sip of water if you'd like a sip of water. I'll do that, I'll join you. Okay, here we go. Heels on your blanket or towel or rolled up back of your mat. Root down, set your foundation. Inhale your hands high. Exhale, elbows to knees, skiers pose. This is our first bus stop. If this is where you want to stay today, pause here. Listen to your body. And if you want to continue to Malasana squat, lower your hips toward your heels, elbows between your knees, and breathe. Take this moment to return to your intention and to notice what your body needs in this moment. Would it feel best to do a heart opener or hip mobility, maybe a hip mobility flow, or maybe to pause in skiers pose or Malasana squat and breathe into your intention. So listen to your body, listen to your heart. Notice what would be best for you in this moment. Maybe it's a mix of all three. Take one more breath where you are and then return back to Malasana squat or skier's pose. Take a deep breath. You can close your eyes or lower your gaze. And gently open your eyes and lower all the way down to your sits bones. Set your prop to the side. We're going to transition through a little bit of core and prep for our peak pose. So transition to tabletop pose. For this pose, you can stay in tabletop and move through the variation and the movement that we're doing in tabletop pose, or you can move through it through plank pose. So choose what would be best for you today. Rooting your hands into your mat, stay in tabletop pose or come into plank, lifting your knees off your mat. Strong core. Notice that your hips are not sagging toward your mat or that your hips aren't piking up. Instead, staying even with your mat, shoulder blades on your spine. And then rise up into downward facing dog. Inhale your right leg high. Bend your lifted knee. Open through your hip into scorpion dog. And then draw your knee toward your outer elbow. So you're going to come into a plank, bring your right knee toward your right elbow, and then lift back up high. Then bring your knee toward your nose, so in the middle, hug in, into plank, and rise up, and then knee over to your left elbow, hug in, and back up to three-legged dog. Nice work. Lower your foot, come back into plank pose, lower your knees, and rest in child's pose or puppy pose. Yogi's choice. Back up, staying in tabletop or moving through downward dog version. Come into plank, downward facing dog, second side. Lift your left leg high, scorpion dog, second side. Bend your lifted knee, open through your hip. Bring your knee to your outer left elbow. And rise up, three-legged dog, knee to nose. Three-legged dog. And knee to right elbow. Strong. Three-legged dog. Lower your foot down to your mat. And meet in child's pose. Nice work, everyone. Breathe deeply. You can bring your hands behind your neck for a little neck massage or beside your legs, bringing your forehead down to your mat or to your block. take 2 to 3 breaths. Soften into your mat, softening your eyes, your jaw, your shoulders, releasing through your hips. And inhale, rise back up, meeting in tabletop pose. Offer your body a cat-cow, whichever variation would feel best for you. Notice what you need in this moment. Let's do that one more time on each side, rising up into tabletop pose or downward facing dog. Root down, inhale your right leg high, scorpion dog, then knee to right elbow, three-legged dog, knee to nose, three-legged dog, and knee to left elbow, three-legged dog. Moving straight into second side, lower your right leg, lift your left leg, scorpion dog, second side, and then knee to left elbow, strong core, hug in, three-legged dog, knee to nose, breathe deeply, you got this, three-legged dog, and knee to right elbow, hug in, rise up, three-legged dog, lower your foot to your mat, nice work, breathe through, downward facing dog, or tabletop pose. Inhale your right leg high, draw your knee to your nose, lower your foot between your hands, root down, strong legs, rise up into crescent lunge, and open into warrior two. Beautiful. Nice work, everyone. You did it. We did it. All right, root down, set your foundation. So open to grace, rooting down with your feet, front knee over front ankle. Notice that your back foot is parallel with the back of your mat. Strong legs, strong core, shoulder blades on your spine. Bring your arms into warrior two. Reverse your warrior. And side angle, elbow to knee. Extend your left arm over your left ear. And reverse your warrior. Side angle. One more time, reverse your warrior. And then come into full side angle, bringing your right hand down to your mat or down to your block. Open through your heart, extend your left arm skyward, turn your gaze toward your fingertips. Then root down, rise up, strong core. Reverse your warrior or extend through your front leg, reverse your triangle, come into warrior two. We're going to move straight into triangle pose. Lengthen through your front leg, draw your torso forward, left hand on your left hip. Lower your right hand down to your mat or to your block, or let it hover just on the outside of your knee. At any point, extend your left arm skyward or keep your hand on your hip. Breathing. And then reverse your triangle. And exhale into warrior two. Bend your front knee and pause. We've made it to our peak pose. Go ahead and grab a sip of water if you'd like. I'm going to for a moment. All right, so our peak pose today is a variation of half moon. And so last week we did half moon pose, and now we're going to do sugar cane, which is a fun challenge. So I want you to enter into this peak pose in a childlike manner. Play, have fun, trying something new, challenging yourself, and if you topple or fall over or don't quite reach where you think you should reach, that's okay. We're playing with this pose, we're having fun, and it's going to be very new to many of us, or it's going to be a pose that many of us haven't done in a really long time. So I haven't done it in a while, so I will do my best to show you the pose and then give you a moment to practice. And feel free to pause at any point if you want more time to practice on each side. So let me show you where we're going first, and then we will do it together. So again, this is similar to half moon, where you can do this at the wall. So at any point you can bring your fingertips to the wall. When you come into half moon, rooting down, lifting your leg, pretend there's a wall right in front of me. Fingertips here, and then lifting your leg upward. You can also bring your hand down to your mat or bring your hand down to a block. I like to use a block if I don't have a wall. So rooting down, strong legs, strong core, really activate your muscle energy. Set your foundation first, activate your muscle energy. Left hand on hip, walk your back foot forward, lower your right hand down to your block. You can also start with the block in your hand. Lower down, it's extending your arm. Once you feel rooted, then lift your left leg up, open through your heart. So we don't want to be crouched over, we want to be opening through the heart. If you need to step down, that's okay. If you wobble, that's okay. You'll engage your toes, strong, strong, strong. Inhale and exhale, lift your hand high. This is where we move into sugar cane. So you'll bend your lifted knee, kind of like scorpion dog. And then reach back, bring your foot to your hand. Ooh, here we go. Stay open through your heart, rooting down, micro bend in your rooted leg, your rooted knee. Staying open through your heart. Engage your toes, press your foot into your hand back into your foot. It helps you stay stable. And then when you are ready, gently release back into half moon, and then step back into warrior two. Woo, reverse your warrior. So play with half moon and sugar cane. There's a lot of bus stops here, okay? So go ahead and start playing. I'm going to talk you through it. And just go to where you feel comfortable in this sequence. If you want to play with just foot and hand placement, wonderful. Next best stop would be playing with getting strong through your core, opening through your heart, lifting your back foot into half moon. So begin to transition, and then play with lifting your arm skyward, right? That's the next best stop. And then play with bending your lifted knee. That's the next best stop. And then if you want to then reach back, grab your foot, rooting your hand into your foot, rooting your foot into your hand, sugar cane. So choose your path, your journey from warrior two to half moon to sugar cane. All right, let's do it together. Root down. Walk your back foot forward. Root your hand into your mat, to the wall, or to your block. Stay open through your heart. If you want to pause here, pause here. If you want to get strong and rooted, lift your back foot. Next best stop. Pause here and play here. Once you feel stable, next best stop would be lift your arm skyward. Keep your toes engaged. Stay open through your heart, and then play with bending your lifted knee. And then, if that feels comfortable, play with reaching back to your foot and grasping your foot with your hand. It's all right if you topple. It's okay if you wobble. Playing with sugar cane. And then step back into half moon, warrior two, and then reverse your warrior. Breathing deeply. Nice work, beautiful job. Play as long as you want to here. You can pause, take deep breaths. I hope you have fun with sugar cane. When you're ready, windmill your hands down, step back, downward facing dog. We're going to play and move into our second side, but first draw your chest forward, transition through chaturanga or child's pose, breathing deeply. I'm going to turn around to the other direction, so I'm staying open to you through second side. Breathing deeply, meet in tabletop pose. And then transition to plank pose and meet in downward facing dog. Second side. Inhale your left leg high. Draw your knee to your nose. Lower your foot between your hands. Root down. Get strong to rise up through crescent lunge into warrior two. Check your alignment. Root down. Strong legs, strong core. Reverse your warrior. Side angle. Reverse your warrior. Side angle. Reverse your warrior again. And then extended full angle. Hand down to your mat, to your block. Open through your heart. Extend your arms skyward. Turn your gaze toward your fingertips. And breathe deeply. Root down. Rise up. Reversing your triangle. Exhale, triangle, second side. Draw your torso forward. Bring your hand to the outside of your knee or down to your mat or down to your block. Hand on your right hip. Draw your hip back. And extend your right hand skyward. Breathe deeply here. And then rise up, reverse your triangle, and meet in warrior two. You know where we are headed for peak pose second side, warrior two to half moon to sugar cane. Go ahead and move along with me as we do second side and choose as far as you'd like with bus stops, okay? Have fun playing. Root down. Right hand on your right hip. Walk your back foot forward, bringing your left hand to your wall, to your block, or to the ground. Root down, get strong, open through your heart, then lift your back leg. Stay open through your heart, through your hips. Engage your right toes, pressing your heel back. If this feels good for you, lift and extend your right arm skyward. This feels good for you. Bend your lifted knee. Kind of like scorpion dog, hug in to stay stable. And then try sugar cane, reaching back to your foot. Clasping your foot, staying open through your heart. Sugar cane, second side. Notice how your second side might feel different than your first side. Notice with curiosity, without judgment. Engage your toes, pressing your foot into your hand back into your foot. And then when you're ready, release your foot back into half moon, and then step back into warrior two. Whew. Reverse your triangle. Beautiful, beautiful work. Exhale your hands to your heart. Take this moment to catch your breath, grab a sip of water, and if you want to pause so you can play with sugar cane and half moon, second side. If you want to continue with me, come back into warrior two and windmill your hands down to your mat. Step back into plank pose. Let's also go into downward facing dog for a moment. Walk your dog out, moving your hips side to side, bending your knees as much as you need to. Then back into plank, lower your knees, and come all the way down to your sits bones. Let's begin to cool down. Lower all the way down to your backside. Supine. Feet are hip distance apart, shoulder blades on your spine. Root your upper arms into your mat, robot arms. Get strong through your glutes, through your pelvic floor, through your core, all working together, rooting down to rise up, lifting your hips high into bridge pose. Breathe deeply. And exhale, lower your hips down to your mat. Four corner stretch, right knee or right ankle over a left knee. Lift your left foot high, bringing your knee toward your chest. Hands are looping around the back of your leg. This is like temple pose, but not standing. And then switch to your second side. Left ankle over right knee. Keep your toesies engaged. And gently release your feet down to your mat. Heel toe your feet mat distance apart. Open your arms in a T pose. Windshield wiper your knees over to your right. And then over to your left. And back to center. Transition to happy baby. And any other pose that would feel good for you in this moment. Maybe a pose we haven't done today. Maybe a pose we did do and you want to try again. Or in happy baby, rock side to side, giving your lower back a little massage. And then when you are ready, gently release your legs, extending your legs, mat distance apart. Extend your arms beside your body into Shavasana, corpse pose. Soften through your eyes, soften through your jaw. Release your shoulders. Release your hips. Bring a blanket over your hips for more groundedness, if that would feel good for you. Or under the backs of your upper legs to support your lower back. Soften your knees, soften your ankles. Return to your normal breath. And let your foundation support you. You can continue resting in Shavasana for as long as you'd like, or follow my cues to the end of our session. Let your breath awaken your body, wiggling your fingers and your toes, stretching your arms overhead, and curling over onto your right side. Using the strength of your arms, rise up into seated, hands at heart center. Each of you are worthy of love and belonging, just as you are. I encourage you to go into your day offering yourself your intention, and that same intention to those around you. From my heart to yours, namaste. Thank you. Thank you everyone for joining me in Anytime Yoga. I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.